Superman and Lois, episode 13. We only got 2 episodes left of this show, and they're going on another hiatus for a couple weeks. I'm like, do we really need that much time to catch up on things? I guess so. I mean, I thought we would be ready by now, but I guess we still have a few things to catch up on. This episode in particular, I really enjoyed. It was probably one of my favorite episodes the show has done because it was so clear in this really good theme that I like throughout Superman, and that is this idea that a lot of people who don't know the character always talk about. He's so overpowered, what happens when that power happens, and like when it comes too much and he loses control. That is a big theme of this episode, and I just love the way it presents that idea because it doesn't shy away from the fact that Clark was about to lose control in this show when we saw him be taken over by Zod. I thought that was great. We'll come back to that theme at the end here because there's a couple of other stories we have to talk about. First off, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the stuff with Tal-Rho in this episode and Morgan Edge. We get a lot of flashbacks to his journey, and basically he's willing to commit to his father's bidding, but the moment he learns that there's another Kryptonian on this planet, when he first finds out that Superman is here, that Kal-El, his brother, is on this planet, he's like, "Father, I can use Kal-El. We can work together to get this mission done, to do it the right way." But his dad says, "You can't. The traitor is swine, the offspring of my enemy. We can't work with him." I'm like, yeah, okay. Weird. I'm just thinking in this moment, man, Lara really likes old fat guys. Because Jor-El's nicer looking than Tal-Rho's dad, but like there's a distinct trait between the two that you can see as a commonality, where there's some similarity, and I'm like, whoa, okay, there's something similar there. But I just like that throughout most of this idea, Tal-Rho doesn't really want to do his father's plan the way his father wants. He wants to do it, but he's like, I can do this my way. I can do this in a way that works for me and for us, and have it be done in a way that's a little bit different, but your plan still comes through with the Eradicator. But his dad's like, no, we're not working with Jor-El's kid. Not gonna happen. I like that storyline. I'm really interested in that because it just humanizes Tal-Rho in a little bit more of a way where you could see maybe there's going to be some humanity in him. There isn't, but there could be. Another big part of this story, too, is Lois and Christy trying to work on the story to put in the Smallville Gazette. And it's like, why do we skew away when we do the true stuff here? Do we put everything in that Lois knows, or does she have to hide some things to save her family? Which, when you're doing a show called Superman and Lois, give me that stuff. I want to see this side of the Lois Lane story, where she's the news reporter, where she's the journalist. She's talking about integrity and how she can only tell the truth. That is her job, but she has to constantly lie to the people around her to protect her family. And even Clark says later on, like, you stretch the truth a lot sometimes to protect our identities, but this is different. There's literally no statement from the DOD saying any of this stuff, and now Lois is looking like the villain here to Chrissy, like, I can't tell her the truth. I know more that I can't say it, and I think that is really good stuff. That is good journalism writing. That is how you present journalism in this kind of fictitious story and have it be believable, have it work. That is so impressive. That is so fun. I loved every second of seeing that. It just added so much to this story. And again, I said Elizabeth Tulloch's probably my favorite Lois Lane. I think this episode solidified it because when we get to like the drama between her and Clark in this episode and how she is so vocal, like, we should destroy the weapons. Sam kind of is like, we're going to destroy them too. Everybody is kind of just like, we're going to get rid of the Kryptonian weapons, the kryptonite weapons that could hurt you because we trust in you now. But it's Clark. Again, such a good Clark Kent moment, such a good Superman moment where he says, you have to keep the weapons. Because if it happens again, if our enemies do this to me again, you have to be able to stop me. And he even says to like John Henry, like, I'm trusting in you. You are the one person I can trust right now to take care of that job. You know the devastation if something like that happens to me again can cause. I need you to do this. Everyone's like, no, we're gonna get rid of the weapons, but Clark talks him into keeping them. I love that because he knows what it's like. And when him and Lois are having that argument, just going back and forth about like, do we keep the weapons? Do we get rid of the weapons? When he says what it felt like to lose control, even though it wasn't him, even though Zod was in control at that point, it was one of the best feelings he ever experienced. And just having no remorse for what's happening in that action, when just your entire body's just saying, you can let loose, you can be free, you don't have to hold back anymore. I tell you, that is some of the best stuff we've seen with Superman. It was just so perfect. It was just the character. It was so perfectly what the character was. I loved it. And Lois is like, oh, I guess we should keep the weapons then. But I just can't get over that. I'm just like, this is something we don't explore a lot when it comes to our Superman stuff. Just that, like, holding on so tightly. And you're comfortable in it. Like, he says he's comfortable of controlling himself, but just being able to let go was such a tempting feeling. I really enjoyed what that was. That is so powerful to see. It made me so happy. Clark was so good in this. Tyler Hoechlin, he's proving you don't have to look like the comic book Superman to be a good Superman. You can be a little different and do your own thing. There was some moments when he was talking to Sam where I thought the suit looked a little padded and a little bit like less prestigious than we've seen with some of the other stuff, but I'm not going to complain because I think overall we've gotten a lot of good stuff from the Superman suit and a really good fight. So there's not a lot of action in this episode, which I know might make some people a little upset, but Superman shouldn't be an action book. He's got Action Comics for that. That's what the book should be. If you're focusing on the Superman title, it's more talky, less actiony. Leslie Lar is coming to Spring Talrow. We gotta intercept before she gets there and breaks him out. And who are we going to use? It's Superman and Steel. They team up in this. They actually just team up and kick the shit out of Leslie Lar. And I thought that looked so cool. It was really fun. Like, just seeing those suits together, it's awesome. I think we're going to have this guy stick around for a lot. I don't know if John Henry's going to become a main character, but I just like seeing him in here. And when he puts the... I thought, like, we got a scene where he's putting something on the suit. I was like, is he going to put the S on the suit? No, he puts the bug that was his daughter's design for the suit. He puts that on it. And I'm like, that's good, because you don't have to do the symbol. And I'm actually comfortable that they don't put the symbol on there. I think it just adds something like, yeah, we're making this our own version of Steel. He doesn't have to be directly related to the S logo, which I think works perfectly fine. Both of our little Kent boys have some action going on here. They both skip school because they don't really want to take part in the school assembly about the actions that happen. Jordan goes to hang out with Sarah. They're walking to like a cool place, and you just see that Jordan is pretty much just goes, you're like somebody I really like. You're like somebody that I'm actually comfortable to be around. Like, I don't feel awkward when I'm talking to you, when I'm with you. I like being with you, and they're just having fun. Couple of cool kids, they make out and they get arrested. I'm like, perfect. That's more tension for the story. I also like this a lot when like all of the stories kind of collide. It's like, here's the stuff with Lana, here's the stuff with Lois, here's the stuff with Sarah. All of these stories intersect with everything going on, and all of them are just colliding in these different ways. The stuff with John Henry and Jonathan, and then Clark comes in, and then it goes to here, it goes to there. It's so much good tension just building up in that moment. I just adored the way that worked. So Jordan and Sarah is a really great couple. I feel like they work really well together, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff. That was really cool to see. Jonathan goes with Tegan. Is her name Tegan? I think it's Tegan. And basically, now that the school knows that their grandfather runs the DOD, everyone's just kind of interested in knowing what's really going on in the town. And Tegan's kind of like playing up. She wants to get to know Jonathan a bit better, but he isn't having it. I'm really impressed with what the show did with Jonathan, because they put this kid through the ringer. He has been beaten down, I think, more than any other character on the show. Not physically, but emotionally. He's lost his girlfriend. He has had his arm broken. He has covered for everybody. He has literally put everything behind. He's no longer playing football. He's lost everything he had, and he can't do anything anymore. And now the girl he thinks is cute doesn't even like him. She's just using him to get information. Man, Jonathan just goes through so much, and he's still coming out on top on it. I think that's pretty cool. He kind of has a moment with John Henry. I'm like, you're building up that story, which leads me to think, I know it's a long shot, but it leads me to think maybe Jonathan's going to become the Eradicator in some sense, or become a version of Superboy. I'm thinking he could become the one with the leather jacket. I don't know. I just think Jonathan is going to have some sort of weapon bestowed upon him for some sort of thing. I don't think we're going to see Jordan suit up, but I think Jonathan is more likely in that regard. We'll have to wait and see what happens, though. I like that stuff. It was really nice to see Jonathan in that element. Again, Lana and Kyle get a lot of play here. Last week, we saw the town hated them. This week, we see that the mayor is supposedly on their side, and we're just seeing, like, the town is reacting to them. Again, Kyle is the unsung hero of this show, because every time this guy is in a scene, I feel his emotions so well. He's so strong. He's such a great actor. I just love it when he sees like his fire crew. They don't want to talk to him. They don't want to acknowledge him, even though he saved this man's life from the building collapsing. Nobody wants to acknowledge that Kyle is there, and he's just getting so mad about it to the point where he's even talking to Lana like, we should just move. Like, we can't find jobs anywhere. You can't work at the bank anymore. The firehouse won't have me back. We should just move to a surrounding area and start over. And maybe they should, but the mayor is on their side until we get our kids out of like the jail, Well, they weren't really in jail. They just got off with a warning. And Lana sees the mayor talking behind their back saying they're going to pin every event that happened on the Cushings. And I'm like, this is great. If you're going to do something by making the Cushings these prominent figures in Smallville, have the town betray them in this sense, I think that works really well. It's very gripping and very intense that way. Again, Lana did a lot of good stuff in this episode. I was very impressed to see what she did. And this whole show just has surprised me. It's gone in so many interesting directions, and I like that. We do kind of end things by seeing Talrow get a little bit powerful in prison for a brief second, and maybe I was reading into this a little bit. For a brief second, I'm like, oh shit, this Talrow about to go electric Superman on us. Because he kind of like bursts into this like blue energy and breaks out of the prison, destroys the kryptonite. And for a moment, I'm thinking to myself, are we gonna do it? Are we gonna see some sort of like more 90s nostalgia be thrown into this book? Because we're getting a lot of that in here. Maybe we will. I don't know, but I'm liking it, man. I think that's really cool. So Talrow escapes, and that's kind of where we're going to leave things off going into the next episode. And I think this is very exciting. There's so much great stuff in here, like Clark exploring control of his power and letting go and how that's affecting the world around him. All these things with like Sam and Lois saying, we're going to destroy the weapons, and Clark saying, keep it. The kids coming to terms with their romantic tendencies. I think that's really fun stuff too. And the Cushings are just such fun characters. I love it so much. Literally, this show just impresses me at every turn. And I'm super excited that we're getting 2 episodes left and that the show's getting a second season. I really like what this episode stood for. I think everything worked really well. And I think it's going to be really exciting because this comes back on the 11th or the 10th. You know what else comes out on the 10th? Stargirl. Stargirl's coming out on August 10th, and you can damn well be sure that as soon as we wrap up the Superman and Lois stuff, I will be talking about Stargirl. So there's going to be some brief crossover where twice a week you are going to get your CW fix on this channel, Superman and Lois and Stargirl coming out. The show is fantastic. I encourage you to watch it. This is probably one of the best episodes that the show has done yet. So that is my review of Superman and Lois episode 13. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.